Good afternoon and welcome to our Thursday's issue segment. I am Mike Garrigan, and on this Thursday, we talk about the election. Voters go to the polls just 12 days from now. We have already looked in our issue segment at the statewide governor and Senate races. It's now time to focus on the 16th and 17th congressional races. There's only one contested primary race among those two districts. Those in the 17th district who pull a Republican ballot will find two candidates to choose from on that primary ballot, Dylan Vansel and Julie Bickelhop. Later, we will hear them side by side on several key issues facing the 17th district. But first, here's an opportunity to meet the candidates and find out how their past experience led to a run for Washington.
We're going to continue to keep pounding the pavement and meet as many people as we can.
17th District Republican congressional candidate Dylan Vansel was born and raised in Illinois, but his work as a railroad engineer took him for 5 years to Aberdeen, South Dakota.
While I was there, I was actually the legislative director for the state of South Dakota for the union, what was then the UTU, which is now SMART. My wife and I started having kiddos, so we moved back home to be close to family.
After working for Canadian Pacific out of the Quad Cities, Vansel left that job to start Dame Fine Coffee.
Now, Dame stands for myself, Dylan, my wife, Alyssa, and our two boys, Mason and Easton. And now that started out of a mobile coffee trailer. So that way, if it didn't work, we could just hook up to it and go down to the next town. Well, fortunately, it went over extremely well.
In 5 years, Dame Fine Coffee expanded to 7 brick-and-mortar locations in Illinois and Iowa. After COVID started messing with the supply chain, Vansel started a distribution company as well.
We now supply around 40 other coffee shops on a weekly basis. We've been able to help control some costs for ourselves, but not only ourselves, but other coffee shop owners as well.
Vansel is also the vice president of the West Central School Board.
With my business background and education school board, there's some things we need to change. When my biggest thing, I've got 7 and 9-year-old boys at home, and I want them to succeed, and I want to have the opportunity to hand something down to them when the time comes. Well, at the rate we're going here in Illinois, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, or how much they're going to struggle to keep things rolling or even expand further. So I'm just to the point where I'm going to continue to keep complaining about it, but I'm going to do my best to try to do something about it.
I obviously have the agriculture upper hand.
Vansel's GOP primary challenger, Julie Bickelhop, is a 7th-generation farmer raising cattle and running a grain operation with her family in Mount Carroll.
I've done anything from clean pig pens to bale hay to whatever needs done. I'm the one who plants, I'm the one who harvests, I'm the one who drives a semi. These are things that are important to me, and I feel like that definitely gives me upper hand in understanding purchasing and things like that within the industry, but also how important agriculture is to the district.
Bickelhop is also the Carroll County Board Chair.
So that's kind of given me the opportunity to leap out of the work role here on the farm and do a little bit more of advocating for the area, but also hoping to advocate for this district and be supportive in finding a voice for the district.
Bickelhop says her leadership on a county board allows her the opportunity to problem solve and get things done, even when working with those who don't always share her same views.
I'm a Republican, but we also have to realize there's probably 80% of what we all agree on needs fixed and needs help, and that are really, really important to us. And those are the things that I think we've got to focus on and figure out who can do that best, who's the most willing to do that and listen and figure out problems. And like I said, as a mom, I coached a lot of sports. I was involved in a lot of organizations that I volunteered for. It was really just about figuring out what the issues were and planning for them and dealing with problems. And I think I can do that at that level too.
Okay, now that we have met the candidates, it's time to find out where they exactly stand on the issues. In fact, on January 24th, the two candidates squared off in a Winnebago County GOP Candidates Forum at Calvary Chapel here in Rockford. What I did was take several of the issues discussed at that forum and put about a minute of both candidates' answers side by side for you to decide which closest meets your values and beliefs.
Running a business myself, why would you run government that way? I would never run a business that way. If I was in the red, I would be done. Why can a county, a state, federal government run that way? And the reason we keep having more and more inflation is because we just keep printing more money. The more money we print, inflation goes up. So I think it's important to be reasonable, think business-like, and continue to find ways to cut the budget, not feed more into it.
So it's a multi-tiered issue. If we can get our energy under control, our health insurance under control, drill baby drill, which Trump has been doing, our fuel prices are at the lowest they've been in 5 years now. We have to continue on that path, and I'm excited for what Trump's going to do over the next few years here. The first thing we have to do with education, we have to cut the Department of Education on a federal level. That is $280 billion a year that is just wasted. 84% of it goes back into just managing itself. If we were to get rid of that department and we were able to send those funds directly to the schools so they could hire teachers at a livable wage, we could take care of better curriculum. I am all for school choice and having those options. In my area and a lot of the areas in the 17th, what other option do you have? So we need to make sure that the schools that we do have are taken care of appropriately, but we also need to open it up in areas like Rockford or Peoria, Rock Island or Bloomington, that they have the option to go where the schools best fit them.
Different experiences fit different people. Different kids need different things, and parents should be able to choose that. Within the state of Illinois, yes, it should be an Illinois-run institution education. However, Illinois does a bad job. Not only do they do a bad job, now they're lowering the standards at which our kids have to be. So they're dumbing down our kids, and that's not okay. At a federal level, currently, we have a tax credit option that people can use for a write-off for taxes. They can go put that money into this grant fund, and they can choose to do that for a tax break. Right now, though, Governor Pritzker is choosing not to participate in that plan. And even though I can put money in, no kids in Illinois can draw any money out if Pritzker doesn't allow that to go through. So I would say in general, that should be a state-run situation. That's who should be taking care of that and funding our police and taking care of our safety within our state. However, we have a governor that's not been doing that. He has not been standing up for the rights and the safety of ourselves and our children, and that's a problem. If our governor isn't going to do the job he was put in office to do to protect his citizens, then if President Trump needs to send that in, then I think that's great. We need to make sure that our families are safe, that areas that we like to go into, like Chicago, are safe. So first step would be, yes, that should be state handled. When the state can't do it or won't do it and fails us, then the federal law does have to come in. It's national security.
First, we have to get this illegal immigration under control. And I bring it back because this week we were supposed to go to a court hearing for a lady here in Rockford, 78 years old, who was beaten and raped by a Venezuelan illegal immigrant. We have to get that part of it under control. And I am 100% supportive of ICE coming in and doing the job that JB has neglected to do. We have to fully fund our law enforcement. And look at what we've done to these guys over the last 4 to 6 years. I mean, while Biden was in office, all we did was defund the police. We're throwing bricks and stones and everything else at them. Who in their right mind right now would want to go out and be a law enforcement officer? Every time you go up to, whether it's somebody speeding that was 6 miles an hour over, or they had a tail light out, every time you walk up to that window, is it going to be the last time that you're able to go home and see your family? We have to support our law enforcement and be behind them 100%. All right, so the first thing we have to do when it comes to ag industry and the farms, family farms, we have to get rid of the death tax. These farmers and these 7th and 6th, 5th generation farmers, they're not being able to pass it down to the next generation because the death tax that they have to deal with. Big thing I want to work on, and I've got friends that are in that industry, they're looking to get into the 3rd and 4th generation, and they have programs where it's kind of a first-time farm purchase, where you can go through and receive, it'd be lower interest rate loan to get your farm up and going and that. So we have to raise those limits to help our next generation farmers continue to thrive.
I feel that the best thing we can do is continue to work with people who understand agriculture to build policy. We continue to get a skinny farm bill. A skinny farm bill basically says we're going to slide these things through, and it really hasn't changed since 2018. And even though you may not farm, and you might not be that less than 2% who actually farm, you are surrounded by agriculture. And it's in manufacturing, it's in jobs, it's in hospital jobs, because all of those run together. And without agriculture and a failed agriculture system, our 17 fails to have the economic power it currently does.